Doctors, what made you say, "How are you still alive?" When my dad was an intern in the emergency room, he was still new enough to medicine that things could shock him. That wore off quickly for most people, but there was one patient who stuck with him for the rest of his life. It was early evening, not long into a shift, and things were running steady but calm. Then the automatic doors opened, and a man walked into the ER, upright and steady, with a kitchen knife embedded between his eyes, buried right up to the handle. No flinching, no screaming, just calmly walked in like he had a nosebleed. Everyone froze. Then the nurse at the desk shouted for a gurney. The guy sat down on it himself, cracking a joke about needing a little help. The blade had gone in through the space just above the bridge of his nose and straight back. When they got a CT scan, it showed that the knife had passed through his sinus cavity, missed his brain by millimeters, skimmed past major arteries, and stopped with the tip resting near his throat. One slight angle in the wrong direction, and it would have cut through his brainstem or carotid artery. One sneeze, and he might have been gone. They asked him what happened. He said he'd been arguing with his girlfriend. He'd turned his back to leave, and she'd picked up the knife and thrown it at him like a dart. That was it. No drama, no panic. She threw it, and it stuck. My dad said he couldn't believe the guy was conscious, let alone lucid and talking. There was some initial fear about trying to remove the knife. It was so close to major vessels that pulling it the wrong way could have caused catastrophic bleeding. So the surgical team prepped carefully. Hours of planning. Neuro and ENT consulted. They brought him in for surgery that night and removed the knife in a slow, controlled operation, inch by inch. No major bleeds, no swelling, no neurological deficits. He was out of the ICU the next day. By the third day, he was asking if he could go home. My dad said every scan, every image they looked at, just confirmed how impossibly lucky the guy was. It was like the knife had taken a guided tour through his head, slipping between all the danger zones without touching anything vital. If it had entered a quarter-inch higher, he would have been dead instantly. A quarter-inch lower, and he would have been paralyzed for life, if he survived at all. The man didn't even have much pain. Some sinus pressure, headaches, nothing compared to what anyone would expect with a blade shoved 6 inches into their skull. His only real concern was when he'd get cleared to drive again. When he was discharged, he walked out of the hospital the same way he walked in. Upright, calm, casual. My dad said the whole team stood there watching him leave, stunned. Someone muttered, "He just cheated death and doesn't even look impressed." They kept the scans and images for teaching cases. Every now and then, when a new crop of residents came in, they'd get shown the case of the man with the miracle knife. No one ever believed it until they saw the scans. My dad's worked in trauma for decades now. He's seen industrial accidents, gunshot wounds, overdoses, freak car crashes, but he still says that man is the luckiest human being he's ever seen. He should have died 10 different ways before he hit the floor, but instead he walked in through the front door and walked out 3 days later.